Hello and welcome viewers to what we're hoping will be a really competitive cricket match. It's really hot out there today. I must say I'm glad to be in the commentary box and not sweltering out there in the middle. The captains are about to toss the coin, so let's get down there and see what happens. Joining me in the commentary box for this match is David Gower. And you were out in the middle earlier, David. How does the pitch look?
Good morning, everyone. When I looked at the pitch earlier, there was only one place to be, out there batting. It's hard and flat and a batsman's paradise. There should be a lot of runs in it, and the bowlers will have to work really hard to get anything from it.
He's put it down. He'll be gutted to have put that one down.
At this level of cricket, you really cannot afford to drop your catches.
No run taken off that ball.
That's gone.
Do you have any recommendations about how to deal with reverse swing, David?
Well, I reckon reverse swing, it's just like what you might call normal swing. The worst thing you can do is try and preempt how the ball is going to move. If you try and guess in advance what's going to happen with the ball, if you look at the bowler's hand in the run-up and look at the way he's holding the ball, or just try and outthink him, you're in danger of outthinking yourself. With any swing, you've got to try and leave the decision to play the ball as late as you possibly can, so you can watch it, and if it's swinging away from you, leave it alone and make that decision as late as possible. But you have to play that ball out of the hand. You've got to watch it from the hand and basically cover your options. And as soon as you start guessing what's going to happen, I reckon you've got a problem.
Nothing scored there.
That's gone.
That's nicely played. No scratching around for singles here. Off the mark with a glorious boundary. A beautifully timed shot for four. No runs scored. Lovely shot.
Super shot. He got into a perfect position for the shot. Head over the ball, weight forward.
The crowd enjoyed that shot. Eight runs off the over.
His right arm over the wicket.
Nice run.
Why do you think the Australians have become such a dominant force in both forms of international cricket over the last 10 years?
I think the Australians have been supremely lucky to have just such a wealth of talent. If you look back through the leaders they've had too, Steve Waugh, Ricky Ponting now, the same spirit has carried on. They've been
Dropped. He'd be disappointed not to have held on to that one.
He must have lost it in the background because he was all over the place trying to judge it.
No runs off that delivery.
If you want.
He's proving a bit expensive, isn't he, David?
Yep, it's not proving to be his day at all with the ball, is it? His lines have been wrong, his lengths haven't been that good either. And he's just not been consistent enough. You're going to bowl at this sort of level, the first thing you need is some sort of control, and he's just not had it today.
A beautifully timed shot for 4. No run taken off that ball.
Warning.
Great bowling. The batsman misjudged it completely.
That's gone.
Another over gone. The left-hander to start a new spell.
A left arm over the wicket.
Late reactions there. No runs scored.
That's gone.
Threw the shot too early there. No run there. Edged. Top-class fielding is really important in cricket these days, David.
I think what's changed nowadays is that people make so much more of an effort with their fielding. There were always talented fielders around, always great catchers, great slip catchers through the ages. But now everyone's expected to be a top-class catcher, a top-class thrower, quick in the field. You've got this sliding tackle, stop and turn, all the rest of it, which I don't always believe in. But fielding is really, really good nowadays, and it's, of course, it's so vital in supporting your bowlers. And it's so important, isn't it, when you get so many close matches, that you can make all the difference with a couple of good stops as to whether you win or lose the match.
6 so far off the over. Lovely shot.
That's really demoralising for the bowler, but he needs to bounce back quickly.
He's certainly not hanging around. The batsmen changed their minds. And the end of the over. We're about to see a change in the bowling.
His right arm over the wicket.
Dropped. That really is very disappointing for the bowler.
That really is not good cricket.
Dot ball.
Just the one.
David, it's hard to explain just why the great Don Bradman was so much better than any other batsman of any era. Bradman explained there were other batsmen out there just as good as he was, but they kept getting out. Do you think it was the ability to preserve his wicket that made him so great, or other factors such as his skill of judging the length of the ball so quickly?
Well, in a way, I'm sorry I never ever got to see Don Bradman bat. I'd have had to be born, of course, in a different era. He must have been awesome to be able to keep scoring runs quickly and in huge quantities. And the number of 300s the Don scored, I mean, just look at that for starters. To be able to keep on doing that points to someone with, I think, supreme mental powers. He claims there were batsmen out there as good as he was, but obviously I guess the short answer is they didn't quite have the determination, the ability to concentrate for long periods. Look at the videos from that era and you might sometimes query the captain's decision to sort of still leave 2 slips in the gully in when the Don's on 270. He kept just stroking it through the covers. Even when tactics were devised, like bodyline, to try and curb him, he still averaged 50. And how many batsmen average 50 in the modern game? Very, very few. So I think that just points to a supreme batsman. Smashing shot, really smashing. I'd pay money just to come and see that.
He picked the length really early there.
Nice one.
Well, the batsman didn't read that one at all. Too late on the... Out!
It went straight down the fielder's throat. The batsman will be kicking himself.
Let's have a look at that in slow motion. I'm sure the new batsman will look to play himself in. They're going to try and liven up the attack here.
This is right arm over the wicket.
That came right out of the meat of the bat. That was a confident shot. Do you have any advice on how to deal with a new ball, David?
I'll tell you one piece of advice I had from a fellow I used to play cricket with for England and with whom I've sparred in commentary boxes before.
That's out.
Well, it was a fairly straightforward catch, but you still need to make sure of it.
And from another angle. The new man in can't afford any lapses in concentration here. Picking up the singles is important, isn't it, David?
Yep, those singles, they're vital, aren't they? It's nice when you're hitting the ball to all parts of the field, but if the boundaries aren't coming, if you can pick up those singles, just keep the scoreboard ticking, you won a ball, still gets you plenty of runs, doesn't it? So they are very, very important.
No runs there.
That's gone.
There's a lot of talk these days about the pace of modern fast bowlers, but are they any faster than the great quick bowlers of the past?
Well, there were those that said that Frank Tyson was mighty quick, and that's many, many years ago now. I just think there might be a few more around nowadays. That's probably the key. And I guess you've got to assume that every other athletic field, sporting field,
He's gone for nothing.
That was an important catch. He did well to hang on to it.
He's heading back to the pavilion rather quicker than he would have hoped. This was how the innings ended. I'm sure the new batsman will look to play himself in. Got him!
Out first ball, he'll remember that for a long while.
Let's take a look at the slow motion replay. Left-hand, right-hand combination at the crease now. Seven runs scored from the over. The off-spinner to bowl the final over.
Okay, left arm over the wicket.
Nice one.
The batsman didn't look comfortable there.
Seeing the ball sail over the fence is the worst sight in cricket for a bowler.
That nearly joined us in the commentary box.
That's gone.
What makes a great fast bowler then, David?
Well, the great quicks, what have they got? They've got the ability to move the ball around. I'll tell you one thing that's important for a great quick, and that's the ability to be able to assess any given pitch quickly, because not every pitch is going to be hard and bouncy and the sort of thing, and green and giving you movement. Not every day is going to be swinging. Therefore, there are going to be days where you've got to just decide maybe to cut the pace back down a bit, bowl at a slightly lesser pace, change the length ever so slightly, because if you bowl too quick and too short on a good pitch, batsmen are going to leave you or cane you. And I think the best of all, the likes of, say, Malcolm Marshall, Dennis Lillee, they had that wonderful ability just to gauge the precise line and length, the precise pace at which to bowl on any pitch, and therefore they could adapt to all conditions. That's what makes them great.
One more run there.
Just the one.
That brings the innings to a close. The innings is about to start.
The left arm over the wicket.
Not timed to perfection. Off the mark. By no means perfect timing. One more onto the team total.
Come on, run!
It's a bit of a jump moving from first-class cricket into the international game, isn't it, David?
You know, I just think that depends on your character. I think it depends how confident you are, obviously how good you are, and it's just a question of backing yourself. Maybe it's a question of who you're playing against. I tell you one thing that makes life easy: if you play against a slightly weaker international team first time round, that helps. But there are very few places to hide in international cricket. Admittedly nowadays you've got some one or two weaker sides, Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, who they're the people to start against, because they're the people with the least ability, and they're the ones you get your runs against first, or your wickets against first, and then you build it up until eventually you come up against someone like Australia. But for most people, it's a question of just remembering that what you do best is what's got you to where you are on the day you make your debut in international cricket. And if you carry on doing that, you've still got a chance.
No run there.
Right ball.
And the end of the over. The seamer to start a new over then.
This is right arm over the wicket.
Threw the shot far too early. That's two more. So, David, Brian Lara is considered by many to be the greatest batsman of his generation. As a left-hander yourself, what would you say are the strengths in Lara's batting technique?
Well, I'll tell you what I think is the secret to Lara's success. First, you've got that high backlift, which means he's in a position to get the bat into all sorts of places very quickly from there. Allows you to play attacking shots on the front foot. Certainly allows you to play attacking shots on the back foot because the bat's already high. But then it's the speed with which he gets that bat into position, the fact that he plays the ball late. It's always been in his favour. All the great players do it. He's certainly one of those. He leaves the decision right until the last possible moment. And of course, when you're talking about something like 0.4 and a bit of a second in which to make that decision, it shows just how good anyone of this sort of calibre is. But those are his secrets. That's why he's such a good player.
Just the one.
Oh, he's dropped it. That's a stroke of luck for the batsman.
At this level of cricket, you really cannot afford to drop your catches.
Just one there.
Come on, run. Again.
Another 2 added.
Get in! Run! And again!
Great footwork, beautiful shot.
He picked the length really early there.
A pretty ordinary over.
It's his right arm over the wicket. Bowling!
There's been a tendency to score much quicker in Test matches than in the past, David. Why do you think this has happened?
Well, I'll say one thing first. There are times in the past where people scored just as quickly as modern sides do now, but I think the difference now is that modern sides do it more often, and they're more consistent in doing so. And that's just it's a change of attitude. The Australians have led the way very much. We know that. They've got the players down the order. With Gilchrist at 7, someone like that at 7 who scores his runs as quickly, if not more quickly than anyone. That's how they keep coming up with the goods, because they're prepared to take those risks, they're prepared to back their ability, and they'll get big scores on the ball quickly, and of course everything follows from there.
No runs scored. W.G. Grace is without question the most famous cricketer of all time, but it's very difficult to gauge just how good he really was in terms of the modern game. Considering that batting technique has moved on since his day, but pitches have improved considerably, how do you think the great cricketer would have got on in the modern day?
Well, I think this is one of the great it doesn't really matter questions of all time. Everyone in an era has to cope with the opposition in that era, and you make your reputation in your own particular era. Grace would have still been a fine player today. He would have come up a very, very different route. He wouldn't have been as autocratic as he was in his day, because he wouldn't have been allowed to. The fact that he might have been made to train, he'd have probably lost a bit off the belly. He wouldn't have been the character at all, but he would still have been a pretty good player. It's like saying, how many runs would Bradman have got in the current era? Well, he might not have averaged 99 point whatever it was, but he would have still been a mighty fine player. You've got to say that the greats from any era, I'm sure, would have had the natural talents and the mental talent to be able to carry on doing it for great periods of time. Those talents would still have held good in any era.
Through the gap, and that'll go for 4. He was onto that in a flash.
Good stuff.
Yes! Again!
That was 4 runs as soon as he hit it. He picked that up beautifully.
That's the end of another over.
His right arm over the wicket.
No runs there. Dot ball.
Get him! Run! Ball is in!
A controlled line and length are crucial to a bowler, aren't they, David?
Well, I don't know any great bowler who's not been able to control his line and length. If you haven't got that, a batsman's got too many opportunities. As soon as you've got line and length as a bowler, whether you're a quick bowler or a medium pacer or a spinner, as soon as that's consistent, then you're starting to make the batsman work hard for his runs and at times hard for survival, and that's when you've got the edge.
Run!
That's another single, but it simply isn't enough at this stage of the match. No runs off that delivery. A very good over, only 2 off it in the end. The left-hander to start a new spell.
A left arm over the wicket. Just the one! Again!
Effortless. He hardly seemed to hit it.
He hit that with great power.
No ball. Just the
Very
one.
late on the shot there. That's out. Let's look at that again.
You can't afford to hesitate if it's a tight run. That slight indecision proved expensive.
He's getting a polite round of applause as he makes his way to the pavilion. New batsman in, and absolute concentration required now. How do you deal with a leg spinner when the ball's really turning, David?
You just hope the luck's on your side, I tell you, because a leg spinner with the ball turning an awful lot, and with the varieties, you've really got to make sure that you can pick it as best you can. Now, I don't know there are that many players who've picked 100% of every variety of every leg spinner, but if you're good enough to pick most of them, then you just hope you miss the ones that you don't pick or deal with them somehow, watch them hard off the pitch. And that's what you've got to do. Watch the ball closely from the hand, watch the hand closely, watch it when it pitches, And if you're not sure, carry on watching. Don't try and do something extraordinary. Don't try and do something over-ambitious. Carry on watching. That gives you a chance of survival.
One more run there.
Catch him! Yes!
Played much, dropped it. Another chance goes begging.
That really is not good cricket.
That was good running by the batsman.
Catch him! Just the one!
It's gone down. You'll be disappointed not to have held on to that one.
This level of cricket, you really cannot afford to drop your catches.
Go! And again!
And the end of the over.
The medium pacer to start a new spell.
His right arm over the wicket. Run! And again!
The wrist spin has made a real comeback in modern cricket. What kind of impact do you think this has had on the orthodox finger spinner, David?
Well, I think the wrist spinner is still the key in international cricket because there are more varieties still available to the wrist spinner. But what's happened to the finger spinners is they've all had to develop something special. And you look at Murali, you look at Harbhajan, they've worked hard to develop, Cyclane Mushtaq before that as well, they've worked hard to develop balls that do something slightly different with what is still largely a sort of finger spinning action, although there's a lot of wrist involved in what Murali does and Harbhajan as well. But they're just trying to do new things, and I think that's vital. I think that's what spinners have to do, because there are so many good batsmen out there today who will play orthodox spin with contempt that you need to have something special. There might be a few heated words said about that in the changing room.
Serious pressure on the new man in then. So, David, do you think the tendency to produce one-day wickets conducive to run scoring has affected the variety of wicket types seen in Test match cricket today?
I think there are a lot of good wickets out there today.
He's gone for a duck. Let's have a look at that from another angle.
That's just throwing away wickets. The captain will not be very pleased about that.
New batsman at the wicket for India. Do you think it's a good ploy to include left-handed batsmen in your lineup when faced with leg spinners of this quality, David?
Well, the easy answer, you just want to play good players against leg spinners. Whether you're left or right-handed, if you're a good player, you'll have the method to maybe deal with it. But left-handers, yes, they've always traditionally done pretty well against the wrist spinner, against the leg spinner, because it just seems to fit, doesn't it? I mean, the leg spinner, the orthodox leg spinner comes back into the left-hander, and you can cover that. And as long as you can pick the googly, you can normally get away with that too. Leave it or cut it, whatever it takes. But you just need good players. And the only problem, of course, I've got to say this: the only problem the left-handers have is that if there's a bit of rough outside off stump, and you've got someone like Shane Warne, any leg spinner of any quality going into that rough, well, it's very, very hard to predict the bounce and the turn from the rough.
Great footwork, beautiful shot.
That was a really classy shot. It's all over.